Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Entrepreneur Rescue Mission. This is a podcast from the Time to Grow. That's the company that Nancy and I run together. And as promised, this is episode 2 of our 4-part series on LinkedIn content. As we kind of touched on last week, we talked about image text posts. So we do hope you guys got a lot of value from that. So if you're listening to this episode and you missed last week, we will leave a link to last week's episode in the description so you can go back and listen to it. Today, we're specifically talking about market research that needs to be done on LinkedIn. And you may be asking yourselves, well, how does market research on LinkedIn relate to LinkedIn content? Well, it's an easy answer. Market research on LinkedIn is typically conducted not through just searching on LinkedIn, but by creating LinkedIn poll questions that reveals specific market research that you're looking to find out from your network or your ideal client. So, Nance, anything that you want to start off with in regards to market research polls?
Oh, I'll let you dive in and how about I chime in?
Okay, so with LinkedIn polls, what I'll first start off with is what you shouldn't do. So I know this may seem elementary, but just don't ask stupid questions. And like, are you a dog or cat person? Dog, cat, like, don't ask questions like that. Now, let me kind of go back. Maybe you run a animal shelter, right?
Then
Maybe
yes.
you're running an animal shelter. That would be relevant to that poll question. So ask poll questions that relate to your business. If it doesn't relate to your business, do not ask the question. So don't ask people how they like their coffee with sugar or cream if you're not a coffee roaster, right? So the fact is that you need to ask correlated LinkedIn market research questions that are directly related to the network of connections that you've been building. So if you've done your due diligence on LinkedIn, meaning you're connecting with the right people, then you then know what questions you should be asking on LinkedIn. Now, when you're asking questions on LinkedIn, some people have said to me, well, no one's voting. No one is engaging in the poll question. So then you have to start to ask yourself one of two questions. Number one, do I have the right connections? Meaning, is the question that you've asked relative to the network of connections that you've been building? So you may have to go back to the drawing board and either A, come up with a different question or start connecting with different people. The second thing that you also have to consider is how relevant is the question that I asked? Is it something that my network of connections finds interesting? So let me use myself as an example. So at the time that we're recording this, I recently published a LinkedIn poll question today that had to do with the LinkedIn algorithm. You guys maybe have listened to that episode that we released a few weeks back about the fact that there's 12 different algorithms on LinkedIn. And I really thought and felt, you know what? That's an interesting question to ask my network of connections. Now, people I'm connected to on LinkedIn, they like to be connected to me because they like to be informed about LinkedIn tips, LinkedIn updates, strategies, all related to their business as it relates to LinkedIn. So I just asked the question, did you know that there are 12 different algorithms on LinkedIn? Yes, no, other, comment below. And it published a couple hours ago. There's already over 20 votes. There's 8 comments. There's good conversation going on. That is something that I am happy that is getting good response because the majority of the people that have voted so far, almost 89%, did not know that there were 12 different algorithms on LinkedIn, which now makes my content later this week more relevant. So I'm actually doing a newsletter later this week that's going to go into deeper context of what are these 12 different algorithms. So a lot of the stuff that you can do on LinkedIn can correlate from one to the other. So that's one example, doing a yes or no question. Another example is, and there's basically only two different types of polls that you can do, right? You're going to do a yes, no, other, comment below. So there's going to be three choices. or there's going to be specific answers that you're looking to have responded to. So, using myself as an example again, I can ask the question, what are you struggling most with in regards to LinkedIn? Option one, optimizing your profile. Option two, connecting with the right people. Option three, creating content. Option four, other, comment below. So there may be something undisclosed that people may be struggling with that I haven't asked in those three choice options. Now, why is this important? Where does the market research fold into this? So if I put that example poll question out there and the majority of people vote optimizing their LinkedIn profile is their biggest Achilles heel. Well, what does that tell me? Well, number one, it tells me that these people really need help optimizing their profile. Number two, I can go into further and deeper context through other content, whether it's a LinkedIn live training, whether it's a LinkedIn newsletter edition, but more so, if your first connections are voting in this poll, you can actually click on the votes within the poll question and you can click and see how many people voted for optimizing their LinkedIn profile. Now, using myself as an example, I have a lead magnet that helps people optimize their LinkedIn profiles. So, say there's like 30 people that voted of my first connections that voted for how to optimize their profile. I could simply click on the person's profile, send them a message, and say, hey, thanks for voting in my poll question on what you're struggling with on LinkedIn. I know you voted. I noticed that you voted for setting up your LinkedIn profile. Here's a free download of 6 steps of how you can perfect your LinkedIn profile. I hope you enjoy it. So now they've engaged with me. I've personalized a message to them, but now I'm converting that person not only into a connection on LinkedIn, but an email subscriber if they find value in going in and downloading my free guide. So those are just two ways of how you can leverage LinkedIn poll questions for market research using yes or no or specific response answers to the question that you've provided.
Yeah. And one thing I just wanted to add in there, I mean, thank you, Scott, for going over that. I mean, I think you really covered the bases there, but
Thanks, Nancy.
it's the type of content, right? A lot of content that we put out there should have different purposes and it solves for the interacting and connecting. Right. With a poll, you can do so much and it does really just open up such a great conversation. And I liked it, in the past, we always talked about it, right? Scott, you used the metaphor like throwing out the crab trap. It was like you're throwing out, like,
And what crabs crawl
like,
in?
because here's the thing, you throw out this comment and this topic, like, so for example, like, whenever I was helping people create sales funnels and, map out the blueprints for their websites and things like that, I put a question out there, do you have a sales funnel in place? And if no, what's your biggest concern? And all, I had in there very simple. It was like, well, I don't even know where to start. I don't have time or blah, blah, blah. And all the people who responded, it was such a natural conversation to say, great, it's what I do. Would you like to connect? And they're the ones who opened the door, right? They're the ones who actually commented and said, oh, no, but I want one, or I don't even know where to start. It just provided such a door open moment for them to start a conversation, right? With me. So it does a lot of really cool things. So guys, we're going to continue on. In fact, next week, we're going to expand, right, on other types of content. I believe we're doing video, right, Scott? We're doing
We
video
are
for weeks,
different
right?
forms of content. Yep.
So yeah. So, what we're talking about again, LinkedIn content is something we are so passionate about, guys. We live it, we breathe it. We, my agency, we primarily support people with LinkedIn content. With Scott's business, he does all LinkedIn consulting. Together, we have created a community. It's called Expert Content Society. It is what so many people have been asking for so long. Where do I start with content? What the heck kind of content do I post? Eek, I'm scared to get on LinkedIn because I'm not really sure where to go with my content here. Well, guess what? We've got a whole community that's actually all about creating thought leadership and really value added content. It's not just the generic fluff, guys. We really create it for you pretty much in like a whole playbook where we give you some prompting, we give you some templates, we give you, right, that perfect mix of using AI tools, but also using your own expertise and your stories, right, to create really authentic content. But content that, again, showcases you as that expert in your space. So let's take the guesswork, right, out of what you should be creating, and let's make it simple and actually make it fun. And that's what we do in the community. And that's been the purpose of all of this. And we follow best practices. And we also do a ton of research, right, to find out what is working well and what's not. So you also get that information as well. So if you guys are interested, just visit thetimetogrowcom. We've got a lot of information on that page. You'll see, again, more info about Expert Content Society. It is all geared towards LinkedIn. So if you want help with posting, knowing what to post, you just want some templates to post and obviously add your own information, we've got it all for you. And we're just super excited to actually do our first big grand opening of the community. So definitely check that out.
Yep. Also, just to let you guys know, we are on social. I mean, not just myself and Nancy, but the Time to Grow. So we do have a company page on LinkedIn, so you can just search the Time to Grow and you can follow, give our page a follow over there as we do produce content on there. And also, we have a new Instagram handle. It's at the _time to grow. So if you want to kind of, get some more, nugget information from myself and Nancy, you can give our Instagram and LinkedIn company page a follow so you can stay better connected with us. Again, anything that you want to learn about the Expert Content Society, please go to thetimetogrowcom to check out more. So we hope you found this episode helpful. Love and gratitude, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye bye.